I've visited a lot of state. My wife and I film documentaries. We visited a lot of state parks, national parks, and private ranches. And some of the private ranches we visited were in better shape than some of the state and federally run properties. Just the entire ecology was held together a little more because they depend on it to feed their animals. They depend on everything functioning correctly. So I think that even in Washington, you've got to have those animals out there grazing in order for that land to function the way that it's intended. Um, but I think it's a bit ridiculous that they can just create rules around things like we're going to create this alkali wetland scenario, put it on the rule books, and then have the right to charge somebody for it and ruin their entire life. Um,
They never
when
even
you
put it on the
mentioned,
rule. Sorry, but I just
yeah,
to interrupt, like they literally like wrote it in a report that they have, and somehow you and everyone else needs to know that that's now a thing that you're being regulated for. Again, it's like, the Supreme Court in Sackett really did touch on this, saying, look, if we don't have laws and regulations that people can understand, how are they supposed to live their lives? I mean, that the one of the most frustrating parts, like we have statutes on the books that basically tell these agencies to like work with these tenants to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that you have this information. So, not only did they not go through the proper legal channels to create these laws and regulations that we all have to live by, but they won't even like work with the ranchers to let them know that here's this other thing that we're thinking about and concerned about. It's just you wake up one morning, it feels like gotcha.
Well, and I think the
yeah,
other piece of it too, just real quick, in Washington State, 9044-050, it allows us to dig stock ponds without getting a permit. We have that law on the books. And Department of Ecology
yeah.
just wants to ignore it. It's like, oh yeah, we know you have that, but it doesn't suit our agenda, so we're just going to ignore it. So not only did Kings do nothing wrong, they have the right under statute to do the things that they've done, and Department of Ecology just flat ignores it.
So what's it like fighting this thing? Because to me, it's pretty clear that if this isn't even a wetland that is within the law. It's just something they created in a report and decided to enforce. But yet they're able to take this as far as they have without anybody stepping in to stop them. Where's the protection to the people from what seems like a bit of a rogue agency?
It's us. We're it. I mean, I'd like to tell you that, some of the lawmakers, some of the elected officials have like taken notice, but I would just say to you, and I would like you to think back to the first time you heard about this case. If someone came to you and said, blah, 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 Mr. Smith is being prosecuted for environmental crimes, the first thing you're going to think is, well, what did Mr. Smith do wrong? And so the way that Department of Ecology put that press release out right away, I mean, they absolutely tried to take control of the narrative from the beginning. And so not only have we had to fight in the law what's going on, but we've also had to fight in the world of public opinion. And so because it's the natural instinct of most people to think that can't happen to me because I didn't do anything wrong. The problem is neither did Kinks. And so you've got this natural idea of, well, that can't be us. But the problem is in this state it can. And so I think one of the biggest parts is that we as attorneys are the only thing that stands between the Kings and at one point jail, literally, and their ability to continue. And you would think in your mind that the public would just rise up and think this is crazy, but they're all afraid. And fellow ranchers also afraid. Ag commodity groups afraid. Because if this can happen to Kings the way we're telling the story, the truth, it can happen to anyone, and that is very scary. So to answer your
That's a
question,
good
it's
point.
been hard, it's been difficult, it's been draining. I think at times I at least feel like an island because again, I'm also a rancher and also involved in these other groups. And my parents always taught us, like, you can't sit by and let a bully someone because then you're no better than the bully. And so we can't do that. We cannot sit by and let this happen. We have to stand up for what is right, even if we're the only ones doing it. And so we have done that.